Welcome, dear listener asterisk. Tonight is not just another night. Tonight is an invitation and embrace of stillness, a doorway into peace. Asterisk, you have carried so much today. Thoughts, worries, responsibilities, they've all weighed gently, yet heavily on your shoulders. And now, in this quiet hour, you deserve nothing more than to simply let go. This is your time, a time where the world slows down, where the night sky leans closer, and where soft whispers guide you into the deepest rest. Asterisk, imagine the stars above each one, a lantern of calm, glowing just for you. Imagine the air around you, warm and gentle, wrapping you like a safe blanket. With every word you hear, with every breath you take, you are drifting further away from overthinking and closer to the peaceful sleep you long for. Asterisk, tonight's stories are not just tales. They are gentle whispers to your soul. They are healing melodies disguised as words. They will remind you that it's okay to release, it's okay to rest, it's okay to be held in the quiet arms of night. Asterisk, so close your eyes. Soften your thoughts and let yourself fall into the rhythm of these sleepy whispers. Asterisk, for here you are safe. Here you are free. Here you are finally home in the comfort of peaceful sleep. Asterisk, the night is quiet now. The world outside your window has settled, and the soft hum of the evening wraps itself around everything like a gentle blanket. You are here, safe, listening. The stories you're about to hear are not meant to excite or to hurry you, but to slow you down, to soften the edges of your thoughts, and to guide you into the arms of sleep. Asterisk, take a slow breath in and a gentle breath out. Let the weight of the day begin to melt away. This story begins in a little village, tucked away between rolling hills and endless meadows. It is the kind of place where time feels slower, where each breeze carries the scent of wildflowers, and where the stars above shine brighter than anywhere else. Asterisk, at the edge of this village, there lived an old storyteller named Elier. He was a gentle soul with silver hair that glowed like moonlight and eyes that carried both wisdom and warmth. Children loved to gather around him in the evenings, and even the adults found peace in his quiet tales. Asterisk, Elier believed that every night carried its own song. Some nights sang softly of rain. Some hummed with the wind brushing through trees. And some nights like this one were filled with whispers of calm, Waiting to be heard. Tonight, Elier sat by the fireplace in his small wooden home. The flames danced slowly, casting golden shadows on the walls. A cup of warm tea rested in his hands. He closed his eyes and listened, not to the fire, not to the tea, but to the silence itself. He smiled because he knew a story was waiting. And so he began not with words, but with a breath. Long ago, he whispered, his voice soft as a lullaby. There was a river that wanted to dream. The listeners leaned in. This river flowed through mountains and valleys, carrying waters that sparkled under the sun. But when night came, the river grew restless. It wondered what it would be like to close its eyes, to drift not across land, but across dreams. So the river spoke to the moon. Dear moon, it said, you rise each night with such calm. You soothe the earth with your glow. Tell me, how can I learn to rest? How can I find sleep? The moon smiled gently and replied, Dear river, you already know how. For sleep is not about stopping, it is about flowing more slowly, more gently, until you become still. The river thought about Gus, and that night it decided to flow just a little slower, winding through the valleys with tenderness instead of rush. And as it did, it began to dream. It dreamed of carrying children's laughter like little boats. It dreamed of painting stars upon its rippling waves. It dreamed of being not just water, but peace itself. As Elier's voice drifted through the room, the listeners felt something soften within them. They too began to slow, to flow gently with the story. Sleep, Elier whispered, is like the river's dream. It comes when we release the rush of the day and allow ourselves to drift. He paused, letting silence settle like snow. Then he told another tale. In a quiet meadow nearby, there was a tree unlike any other. Its branches spread wide like arms open in eternal embrace. Its leaves shimmered in the moonlight, glowing faintly silver, as if the stars had chosen this tree as their resting place. The villagers called it the Tree of Whispers. They believed that if you sat beneath it at night, the tree would share secrets, gentle secrets that healed tired hearts. Some said the whispers were from the stars. Others thought they were the voices of dreams, drifting through the night. One evening, A young woman named Leora sat under the tree. She was weary, her mind tangled with thoughts that refused to quiet. Her heart carried both hope and worry, and she longed for peace. The tree welcomed her with silence first. She leaned against its sturdy trunk, listening. At first, all she could hear was her own restless breathing, but then, slowly, the whispers began. "Rest, dear one," they said. "You are safe, asterisk. You are enough, asterisk. Let the night hold you." Asterisk, the words felt like a lullaby woven from starlight. Leora closed her eyes, and for the first time in many weeks, her thoughts softened. She drifted into a deep, healing sleep beneath the branches of the Tree of Whispers, asterisk, and from that night forward, whenever her heart grew heavy, she would return to the tree. She didn't always hear words, but she always felt calm, like the universe itself had leaned close to comfort her. Asterisk Ellier looked at the listeners gathered before him. He could see their eyes growing heavy, their breathing slower. His stories were working just as the whispers always did. But he wasn't finished yet. "Let me tell you," he said softly, "about the lanterns of the night." Asterisk, far beyond the village, in a valley filled with mist, lived lantern keepers. Their work was invisible to most, yet essential to the world. Each evening, when the sun disappeared, they lit invisible lanterns in the sky. These were the stars, their gentle lights placed carefully to guide both dreamers and travelers. Asterisk. Each lantern carried not only light, but also a wish. The keepers collected wishes from every corner of the earth. A child wishing for comfort, a mother wishing for rest, a traveler wishing for direction. Each wish became a tiny flame, glowing above in the endless night. Asterisk, one lantern keeper, the youngest of them all, once asked his teacher, asterisk, "Why do we place so many lights? The sky is already full of stars." The teacher smiled, because each light carries not just brightness, but love. And love can never be too much. Asterisk, the young keeper nodded. And as he lit his lantern that night, he whispered, asterisk, "May this light bring peace to someone who needs it most." Asterisk, perhaps that light is shining on you tonight. Perhaps it is guiding you gently toward the dream you need. Asterisk Ellier's stories drifted like feathers in the air, slow, soft, and healing. Asterisk. And now, as you listen, notice your own breath once more. Inhale deeply, slowly. Exhale gently, completely. Asterisk, feel your body loosening. Like the river slowing down. Asterisk, feel your mind softening. Like the tree's whispers. Asterisk, feel your heart glowing. Like the lanterns above. You are safe here. You are resting here. You are drifting now. The story continues, but for now, let yourself float. For tonight, the night itself whispers to you. You are enough. You are loved. You may rest. The fire in Ellier's hearth had grown smaller, glowing with soft embers instead of flames. The storyteller leaned back in his chair, letting silence breathe between stories. Outside, the night was still, as if the entire village itself had fallen. Under the gentle spell of his words, Asterisk, he spoke again, his voice slow, tender, as though each word were meant to be carried on the breeze straight into the hearts of those listening. Asterisk, do you know, he began, that the night keeps secrets, soft ones that only reveal themselves to those who slow down enough to hear them. Asterisk, his listeners leaned in, their breathing calm, their eyelids heavy. And Ellier shared the next story, The Path of Moonlight. There was once a small traveler who wandered far from home. He was not searching for riches or glory, only for peace. Each day, his thoughts grew loud, like a crowd inside his head, and he longed for a silence that could heal him. Asterisk. One night, as he walked along a quiet meadow, he noticed the moonlight spilling across the ground. It was not just scattered light, it looked almost like a path, glowing faintly across the grass. Curious, he decided to follow it. Step by step, he walked along the silver glow. The path curved gently, leading him past a brook where fireflies hovered, their tiny lights blinking like stars brought down to earth. The sound of water trickling was soft, steady. Like a lullaby. Asterisk, the traveler continued, his heart easing with each step. Asterisk, at the edge of the meadow, The path led into a small grove of trees. Their leaves shimmered under the moon, casting gentle shadows. And there, at the very end of the glowing trail, the traveler found something unexpected, a still pool of water, perfectly round, reflecting the entire night sky. The pool looked like a mirror made of stars. The traveler knelt down beside it. For the first time in many weeks, his mind grew quiet. He leaned over the pool, watching the reflection of the moon ripple with his breath. It felt as though the sky itself had stooped low to comfort him. He closed his eyes, and as he rested, there he felt the silence he had been searching for. It was not a silence of emptiness, but a silence full of peace, full of calm. From then on, whenever his thoughts grew too heavy, he returned to the moonlit path. It was always there, waiting, as if the night itself remembered his need. Elier paused, letting the story sink into the room. The listeners exhaled together, slowly, as though they too had walked the moonlit path. The forest that hummed, let me tell you, Elier whispered, about a forest that carried its own song. Far beyond the hills of the village, there was a forest unlike any other. In the daytime, it seemed ordinary tall trees, thick branches, moss on the ground. But at night, the forest, it was not the hum of insects or owls, but something deeper, like the earth itself was singing. The hum was soft, steady, a vibration that filled the air and settled gently into every traveler who passed through. Those who entered found their worries loosening, their fears dissolving, their minds growing quieter with each step. One evening, a weary healer came to the forest. She had spent her days caring for others, carrying their pain, their burdens, their fears. Her body was strong, but her heart was heavy. When she entered the forest, she felt the hum at once. It flowed through her feet, into her chest, into her very breath. She stopped, closed her eyes, and let herself listen. The hum spoke without words. You are not alone. The earth holds you. Rest. The healer sank to the ground, her back against a tree, and allowed herself, for the first time in years, to release her own weight. She felt the hum cradle her, a sound both ancient and loving. And that night, under the humming trees, she slept deeply. When she awoke, The morning sun filtered through the branches, and she felt lighter, like the forest had carried part of her burden away. She thanked the trees, placed her hand against the bark, and returned home, her steps softer, her spirit soothed. Ellier's listeners breathed deeply, as if they could feel that hum resonating within themselves. Some leaned against each other, already drifting toward sleep. The sleeper star. There is one more tale for tonight, Ellier said softly, his voice quieter now, almost like a whisper inside a dream. High in the sky. Among the countless stars, there was one star with a very special gift. It was called the Sleeper Star. Unlike the others, the star did not try to be seen. Its light was not for the eyes, it was for the heart. The sleeper star glowed in a way that only tired souls could feel. Whenever someone lay awake at night, restless and unable to quiet their thoughts, the sleeper star would send a gentle warmth, wrapping around them like an unseen blanket. Some described it as a sudden wave of comfort, others as a soft drowsiness, and some simply said they felt held by the night. One evening, a child in the village lay awake, tossing in bed. His mind replayed the day's worries, things he had said, things he had not done, fears about tomorrow. His heart raced, his body restless. But then, as he looked out the window, he noticed a faint, warm glow above. It was not bright, not dazzling, just a steady, gentle light. He did not know. It was the sleeper star, but he felt its presence. His thoughts began to quiet. His heart slowed, his breath deepened, and soon his eyes closed. From that night on, whenever he felt restless, he remembered the sleeper star. Though he could not always see it, he knew it was always there, watching, guiding, comforting. And so many in the village grew to believe that the sleeper star was their silent guardian, helping all who struggled to find rest. Ellio's voice softened, barely more than a whisper now. And so, my friends, if you ever find yourself unable to rest, remember the river that dreamed, the tree that whispered, the lanterns above, the path of moonlight, the forest that hummed, and the star that waits just for you. He looked around at the listeners, many of whom were already drifting in and out of dreams. You are never alone. The night itself is full of whispers, guiding you gently toward sleep. Asterisk, the embers in the fireplace glowed faintly. The storyteller leaned back in his chair, his eyes half closed. Asterisk, now breathe. He murmured, in and out, slowly, gently, peacefully. Asterisk, the night is here to hold you. You are safe. You are loved. Asterisk, you may rest. Asterisk, and with those final words, Elier let silence take over, a silence so deep and tender that it felt like the very heart of the night itself. The village had grown still. Outside, the moon sailed quietly across the sky, sprinkling silver light over rooftops and fields. The air was cool and calm, carrying with it the faint fragrance of night-blooming flowers. Inside Elier's little wooden house, the fire had burned down to soft embers, glowing like tiny red stars. The storyteller sat with his hands folded, his eyes half closed. He was not asleep, but he rested, listening to the silence between heartbeats. The listeners remained gathered, some curled on cushions, some leaning against the wooden walls, their breath slow, steady. Elier's stories had soft their edges, like waves smoothing stones. But there was more to tell, gentle stories, meant not to stir, but to guide them deeper still. He opened his eyes and began again, his voice slow, velvety, like a lullaby carried by the wind, the lake of quiet dreams, far beyond these hills. Elier whispered, "There is a hidden lake. Few know the way, for it reveals itself only to those who truly need rest." The lake was not large, not deep, but it was unlike any other body of water. Its surface was so still, so calm, that it looked like a sheet of glass. And on that glass was painted the reflection of the night sky. Not a ripple disturbed it, not a breeze dared move it. Travelers who stumbled upon this lake discovered something unusual. When they leaned close to its surface, their reflections looked different. They did not see their worries etched upon their faces. They did not see their burdens. Instead, they saw themselves as they wished to be peaceful, whole, and Frida. One such traveler was a young musician who carried the noise of the world within his heart. He was restless, always searching for harmony, but never able to quiet the clamor in his mind. When he found the lake, he leaned over, expecting to see the same tired eyes he always carried. But instead, he saw a version of himself smiling gently, his gaze soft, his shoulders unburdened, moved. He reached out to touch the surface of the water. Ripples spread outward, and for the first time in many years, his mind grew still. He lay down at the edge of the lake, listening to its silence, and soon fell into the deepest, most healing sleep of his life. When he awoke, his music had changed. No longer rushed, no longer restless, his songs became lullabies, gentle melodies that helped others rest. And so, the lake of quiet dreams continued its secret work, holding reflections not of what is, but of what longs to be. Elier's listeners sighed softly, as if they too had glimpsed their reflection in that quiet lake, this secret garden of night, not far from the lake. Elier continued, "There lies a garden that blooms only beneath the moonlight. By day, the garden seemed hidden, just an empty stretch of field. But when night came and the moon rose high, the flowers awakened dot petals, unfurled in shades unseen by the sun-pale blue that glowed like frost, lavender that shimmered like mist, white blossoms that sparkled like tiny stars. The garden carried no sound of bees or birds. Instead, it hummed faintly with the quiet music of night. Those who walked among its paths found themselves growing calmer with each step. The air smelled of lavender and jasmine, scents that eased the heart. One night, a woman burdened by sorrow found herself wandering into the garden. She had carried grief for so long that her shoulders ached beneath its invisible weight as she entered. The moonlight flowers opened wider, as though welcoming her. Their glow surrounded her in a gentle embrace. She sat among them, tears falling silently, and the garden did not ask her to stop. Instead, it listened. And when she had no more tears to give, the flowers seemed to sing a soft, wordless lullaby. The sound was not heard with the ears, but felt in the chest, like a heartbeat not her own. That night, she slept among the blossoms, wrapped in their fragrance and their glow. And when she woke, Her grief had not vanished, but it felt lighter carried, perhaps, by the petals themselves. The garden continued to bloom for all who needed it, a place where sorrows could soften into rest. The listeners in Elier's room shifted, slightly, their breaths deepening. Some dreamed already, walking softly through the garden's glowing paths, the voices of the wind, beyond the hills, beyond the lake, and beyond the garden. Elier whispered, "There is a mountain where the wind speaks." It was not an ordinary wind. It did not howl or rush. It did not carry storms. Instead, it carried voices, gentle voices that drifted softly, like murmurs of love. Those who climbed the mountain would hear the wind differently. To some, it sounded like their loved ones whispering words of comfort. To others, it sounded like forgotten lullabies from childhood. And to a few, it spoke like their own heart, reminding them of truths they had long forgotten. One traveler, a young scholar, weighed down by endless questions, climbed the mountain. His mind was always restless, chasing answers, never finding peace. When he reached the peak, the wind surrounded him. At first, he heard nothing but silence. But as he closed his eyes, the whispers came. They were not words he could fully understand, yet they filled him with peace. They told him, without saying, that he did not need every answer tonight, that it was enough to rest. The scholar lay down on the soft grass at the summit, the wind brushing over him like a blanket. For the first time in many years, his mind was quiet. He slept, and the mountain kept his dreams safe. Elier's voice soft even more, barely above a whisper. And so, dear ones, the world is full of places that soothe, lakes that calm the restless, gardens that heal the grieving, wings that hush the overthinking. They're there, waiting for you whenever your heart grows heavy. He paused, letting the silence of his words settle, like dew upon grass. A pause for Restorative leaned back, his voice slower now, stretching like the night itself. Close. Your eyes now, he murmured. Imagine the lake. Still and calm, Dot, imagine the garden. Blooming with moonlight, Dot, imagine the mountain, where the wind carries whispers just for you. Breathe in, breathe out. Let them guide you. Let them hold you. Let them carry you deeper into rest. The room was silent, save for the steady rhythm of slow breaths, like waves upon a shore. The storyteller's words had become part of the night, itself woven into the darkness, into the hearts of those who listened. You are safe. Elier whispered finally. You are loved. You are resting now. The silent forest and the river of dreams. Asterisk. The night was wrapped in velvet shadows, and a silver moon floated above like a guardian lantern. Elena, our gentle traveler, had walked far on her journey through the dreamy land of sleepy whispers. Each step had taken her deeper into the embrace of calmness, yet the road was not done. Now the whispering wind guided her to the edge of a vast, silent forest. Asterisk. The trees stood tall like wise old guardians, their branches arching overhead to form a cathedral of nature. No noise of the outside world entered here. The moment Elena stepped beneath the first arching branch, the world hushed itself. The only sound was her own soft breath and the faint crackle of leaves under her feet. It wasn't frightening silence, it was healing silence. A kind of silence that lets you finally hear your own heart beating. Steady and strong. Asterisk. She walked deeper and the air grew cooler, scented with moss and pine. Each tree whispered a lullaby, a language without words, as though the forest itself knew why she had come, not to search, but to rest. The forest of memories within the forest, glowing lantern-like flowers lit her path. They pulsed softly as though breathing with her, guiding her deeper into stillness. Elena realized each flower was tied to a memory. Asterisk. When she touched the first bloom, a memory floated before her. A rainy day when she was young, sitting by the window, watching droplets race each other on the glass. She remembered the cozy feeling of being safe indoors, the world softened by rain. Asterisk. At another flower, she saw a memory of holding her grandmother's hand. The old woman's palm was warm, her fingers gentle but firm. Elena remembered the sense of belonging, the reminder that she was loved without condition. Asterisk. Each glowing bloom offered her a fragment of peace. The forest did not burden her with the heavy memories, the sad ones stayed quiet. Instead, it reminded her of comfort, connection, and stillness. Asterisk. The deeper she went, the more she felt a weight lifting, as though the forest was carefully untangling the knots of worry she had carried all this time. The river of dreams at last. The forest opened to reveal a wide river flowing like liquid moonlight. Its surface shimmered with stars, though no sky above reflected them. This was the river of dreams. Asterisk. Elena knelt at the bank, watching as ripples formed and carried away like whispers into infinity. She dipped her hand into the cool water, and as she did, images flowed across its surface, dreams not yet dreamed. Asterisk. One showed a night sky filled with constellations she had never seen. Another revealed a vast meadow of golden grass swaying beneath a pink dawn. And then there was a vision of herself not in her waking life, but resting peacefully, her face calm, her breath steady, her body entirely at ease. Asterisk. The river whispered, "Here your spirit rests. Here your worries drift." Asterisk. Elena closed her eyes, and the water sang in tones too soft for words, an ancient lullaby, born of stars and silence. The boat of stillness on the riverbank rested, a small wooden boat. Its shape was simple, carved from a single tree, yet polished until it gleamed in the moonlight. She stepped into it, and the moment she sat down, the boat began to glide. Asterisk. There were no oars, no sails. The boat moved on its own, as if guided by unseen hands. Elena leaned back, letting her fingers trail in the cool dream water. Each ripple carried away fragments of unease, fragments of tension she hadn't known she still held. Asterisk. Above her, the sky within the forest had shifted. Stars shimmered low, close enough to almost touch, and one by one they began to fall gently into the river, glowing like fireflies upon the surface. Asterisk. The boat glided slower, slower still, until it finally stopped in the middle of the river. Here, the water stilled, the air softened, and silence grew deep enough to cradle her whole being. Asterisk. It was as though the river itself told her, "Rest now. You are safe. You are home." The gentle guide across the still water, a figure appeared, a woman cloaked in silver light. She was not frightening, but tender, her presence calm as the moon. Asterisk. You have walked far, the guide said in a voice softer than wind. You have released much. Here in this quiet you may rest. The river will hold you, as will the stars. Sleep is not an end, but a returning. Asterisk Elena felt her eyes grow heavy, her body sinking into comfort. The guide raised a hand, and the boat gently rocked, lulling her like a cradle. Asterisk, do not be afraid of the night, the guide whispered. For night is when you are most held. The forest breathes with you, the river dreams with you, the stars sing for you. Let go now and let the whispers carry you where you belong. Falling into deep rest, the stars above began to blur. As Elena's eyes fluttered shut, the rocking of the boat grew slower, matching her breath. In, out, and out. Asterisk. Each inhale was a gift. Each exhale was a release. Asterisk, the silver guide faded into light. The forest grew softer, the river quieter, and Elena at last let herself surrender to the deepest peace she had ever known. Asterisk, the river of dreams carried her not to a destination, but into pure rest, into silence, into sleep. Gentle closing whisper. And so, as you listen to this story tonight, let the forest of memories remind you of safety, of belonging. Let the river of dreams carry your worries away. Imagine yourself in that small wooden boat, rocked gently by the water, watched over by stars. Asterisk, your breath slows, your body softens, your mind drifts. Asterisk, you are safe, you are loved. You're resting. Asterisk, and now, dear listener, close your eyes and let sleep embrace you. The village of eternal rest, asterisk. The river of dreams carried Elena deeper into the embrace of night. She did not know how long she drifted. Time itself had dissolved like sugar in warm tea. The stars that once glittered above now hovered closer, as if leaning down to comfort her. The wooden boat swayed gently, a cradle upon endless silver waters. Asterisk when the boat finally touched the shore. Elena stepped onto soft earth, where moonlight kissed the ground like dew. Before her stretched a valley unlike any she had seen. This was the village of eternal rest. Asterisk, the village was quiet but not empty. Windows glowed softly with golden candlelight. Smoke curled from chimneys and lazy ribbons, carrying the scent of lavender and chamomile. There was no bustle, no rush, only serenity. Even the cobblestone paths seemed to hum with stillness, as though each stone had been laid not for walking, but for slowing down. The warm welcome as Elena entered the village. She was greeted by gentle figures, villagers with kind eyes and soft smiles. They did not ask who she was or why she had come. They simply nodded as if they had been expecting her all along. Asterisk, one elderly woman offered her a steaming cup of tea. The cup was warm in Elena's hands, the aroma soothing even before the first sip. When she drank, the tea wrapped her throat, and comfort melting away the last remnants of restlessness. Asterisk, welcome, traveler, the woman said softly. You have come to the place where sleep holds you gently. Here, there is nothing to carry, nothing to chase, only rest. Asterisk, Elena's shoulders eased. She hadn't realized how heavy they had been until this very moment. Asterisk, the Hall of Quiet Dreams. Asterisk, the villagers guided her to the center of the town, where stood a great circular hall. Its roof was glass, open to the night sky, and inside the walls were lined with shelves not of books, but of dreams. Each dream shimmered within a crystal orb, glowing faintly like a firefly at dusk. Asterisk, Elena was invited to walk among them. As she did, she saw dreams of children laughing in fields of daisies, of quiet lakes at dawn, of reunions with loved ones long missed. She saw dreams of flying, dreams of healing, dreams of finding peace after storms. Asterisk, one orb glowed brighter than the rest. When Elena touched it, it opened like a blossom, and she saw herself not searching, not wandering, but simply lying under a sky filled with constellations, listening to the steady rhythm of her own breath. She realized the dream was not a future nor a fantasy. It was her present moment, waiting for her to rest enough to feel it. The inn of soft pillows, the villagers led her to a small inn at the edge of the village. Its wooden beams creaked softly, and its windows glowed with warm candlelight. Inside, the air smelled faintly of lavender and vanilla. The innkeeper, a kindly man with gentle eyes, showed her to a room prepared just for her. The bed was vast, layered with pillows so soft they seemed to sigh when touched. The quilt was heavy enough to ground her, yet light enough to comfort. The room itself breathed tranquility. Rest, the innkeeper said, his voice barely louder than the whisper of wind. The night will hold you. The whisper of nature outside the window. Elena could hear the lullabies of nature, the slow rustle of leaves, the murmur of the river still flowing nearby, the occasional song of a night bird. Each sound blended into a symphony of calm. She lay upon the bed, pulling the quilt around her shoulders. Her body melted into the mattress, the pillows cradling her head like clouds. Her breath deepened, her heart slowed, her thoughts softened. It felt as though every worry she had ever carried was set gently on the bedside table, left behind like a coat no longer needed. The eternal embrace of rest. The moon shifted across the sky, pouring silver light into her room. Elena closed her eyes, and in that instant, the entire journey, the valley of golden meadows, the silent forest, the river of dreams, the silver guide returned to her in waves of gratitude. She realized her journey had never been about arriving. It had been about surrendering, about allowing herself to let go, to soften, to be held by the night itself. Her body sank deeper into the bed, and the world outside her window blurred into nothing but sound and stillness. She heard the whisper, "You're safe. You are loved. You are enough. Rest now." Her last waking thought was not a thought at all, but a feeling peace, pure and complete. A whisper for you. Listener and now, dear listener, as Elena drifts into the deepest sleep, imagine yourself in that same village. Picture yourself walking down those quiet cobblestone paths, entering the inn prepared just for you, lying upon that bed of endless comfort. Breathe slowly, in and out, in and out. Let go of today's noise. let go of tomorrow's weight. You are here in this moment where peace holds you like a dear friend. Asterisk as you close your eyes. Imagine the stars leaning low to watch over you, the forest breathing with you, the river carrying away your worries, the village humming with silence. You are safe, you are home, you're resting, and now drift deeper and deeper until sleep embraces you fully and forever. Asterisk, and now, dear listener, the story has come to its gentle end, but your rest is only just beginning. Asterisk, you have walked through valleys of peace, listened to rivers of dreams, and entered a village where rest itself is eternal. And though the tale has closed, its whispers stay with you, wrapping you in calm, reminding you that you are safe, loved, and free to let go. Asterisk, as you lie here, eyes closed and heart softened, know that the night is holding you. Every breath you take is a lullaby. Every moment is a step deeper into healing rest. Asterisk, there is nothing more you need to do, nothing more you need to carry, only to surrender to this stillness and allow sleep to embrace you fully. Asterisk, so drift now, peacefully like a leaf floating on. Quiet waters like a star settling into the velvet of night. Asterisk, good night, dear soul. May your dreams be gentle, your heart be light, and your sleep be the deepest, most healing rest. Asterisk, until we meet again in the next story, sleep well.